what would a client do if their son were Hunter Biden? Item number one, obviously, you go to an estate planning attorney. You create a special needs trust. You determine that you want your money to be passed on to them over a selected time period rather than in a lump sum. You determine the destiny of your money. You say, hey, this money can only be used if it's used towards the down payment on a house. The other thing with children that are challenged, parents typically blow a bunch of money on them while they're around, right?
Right.
Sending them to rehab, bailing them out of jail, buying them an attorney, buying them crap because they can't stand on their own 2 feet because they're wrestling with this monkey on their back that is the addiction. So a good estate planning attorney is going to walk you through different ways you can properly compensate for the money spent on that individual while you're around. Different ways you can skip, because some parents are just like, I'm sick and tired of you. I've given you too much. I love your kids, though. I want the money to go to your kids. Now, with Hunter, you got a whole nother issue there because you've got this kid that was had with the stripper that might come out of the woodwork. And that's a really gross way to put it because it's a child, but comes out and says, hey, I'm entitled to that money now, right? Because you're my grandpa by biological testing. So I would say a good estate planning attorney, Jill and Joe, should spend good money on an excellent estate planning attorney. Now, what about outside of the legal elements of all of this? What are you telling Jill and Joe from a, like you said, personal finance it's not just about asset allocation. It's not just about numbers. It's life coaching.
Our job as planners is, the parents, they're our clients, right? And their retirement and making sure they're taken care of and don't have significant challenges in the future is number one. So sometimes that can be a difficult conversation to say, like, you can't afford to give your kids $100,000 or $200,000 for a down payment on a house, right? Those are conversations we have around here. Houses are incredibly expensive. Parents feel like their kids can't afford homes. And sometimes I tell them, you can't afford to do that, right? And it's their money, right? They'll make the decision that they want to make, but it's our job as advisors to just lay it out there for them so they're not making a decision blind.
A good rule of thumb is if your child could get a loan surrounding that transaction that they're trying to pursue, you should probably have them pursue that loan with a financial institution rather than yourself. Although there's opportunities where, you're giving your kid a hand up. We've seen successfully where people like underwrite a kid's mortgage, and sometimes that works out well.
It works out. And I tell folks, if they want to do that, you have to treat it as like, you're not going to see this money again.
Yep.
Right. Even if you've got an amortization schedule and your child's going to pay you back over 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is, your attitude has to be, I'm not getting paid back for this, and I'm going to be okay if I don't get paid back. Those are my top 2 rules for giving money or lending money to family.
I'm telling Jill and Joe Biden that you've done all you can for this kid. You've put them through college. You've given them a seat at the table. They need to help themselves. They need to kick this addiction issue on their own. And you need to enjoy your money, right? You get one go at life. You've poured into this person financially and emotionally all that you can. It's now time to enjoy your money, cash flow your retirement so you have an abundance of income, and don't just wait around to die and leave it to them at a lump sum. Maybe give them money while you're around and they're clairvoyant and clear-eyed. Give them small gifts annually to ensure that that money is being utilized in a thoughtful way rather than buying drugs and neck tattoos. So I'm all about that. When a kid is derelict, give them money while you're alive. And if they're utilizing that money in a thoughtful way to pay down debt, buy assets, help their kids get through college. Continue to give the money. But if they're, being dysfunctional with the money, you're not being a control freak to stop giving them gifts. We're all for that in those instances rather than waiting around to die.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, a lot of times, and what we should do, we need to go back to the roots of who we are. And that's you just said the parable of the talents, right? Without it being saying that. You give them something, see how they do with it. And if they don't do well, okay, right? We can't do that anymore. But if they do well, feel comfortable giving some more.